Good day, God day to you. I hope you are starting your day on a good high note. I hope you take the time to get into His presence, God's presence, and seek Him. Seek Him first before you start your routine, before you get into the flow of the day. Go talk to Him. He wants to hear from you. He wants to hear from us, for sure. This morning was different. It was very different. But I decided to actually just do some things that typically I don't do till like after I post my content. So I just sat and just soaked up the things that I normally do. I'll get into the daily verse, but instead of just reading the daily verse, I actually took the time to listen to the full chapter and then go back and reflect on that verse. So as I was cleaning up the dishes and stuff, or putting away the dishes and all of that, just listening to it, and it kind of helped me transition into my daily reading. I also listened to positive content. I was listening to the podcast for Dr. Miles Monroe, Understanding the Purpose for Your Life, and enjoyed listening to that. And then I got into my daily devotional and also my daily reading. Again, if you do not know, I am currently reading the new Morning Mercies by Paul Tripp. I believe that's his name. I'll make sure I write out his name in the description. And then also reading the book, What Happens When Women Pray. So today, for my overall reflection, I'm just thinking about how when it comes to prayer, it's very simple and straightforward. Find a place where you can be by yourself in God's presence and just pour your heart out, right? Make it as simple as possible and just talk to Him. I can't put it any other way. And I know for me, when it came to prayer, you hear it in the church, in the places of worship, where they say, you got to pray, you got to pray, you got to pray, you got to pray. And then I remember being in groups where they would encourage prayer, but did not know how to pray. Honestly, I would just find myself, since I wasn't in the habit of praying, I would pray these long, drawn out prayers, and they sounded good and it sounded wonderful, and it was probably too deep for my understanding. But it was like, since when you're not in the habit of praying, you will merge the prayers that are supposed to be said in your alone time into your public places of prayer. And then it's like, people who don't know how to pray, they're seeing you pray that way and they think, oh, these are what public prayers look like. And it's like, no, when it comes to prayer, you have your public prayers and you have your private prayers. When you're in public, prayer should be simple. It should be straight to the point. It should be focused, and it should be clear so that people who are around you, if there are babies in their prayer life, they hear it and they're like, okay, that's how you pray. A lot of people are scared to pray because they think when it comes to public prayers, it has to be long and drawn out. And in Matthew chapter 6, it breaks down exactly how we should pray. It's not about how many words you can say. It's not about you know, how deep you can make it sound. It's literally about you letting your heart be known to God. And I'm grateful because the book, What Happens When Women Pray, it talked about how the woman, she had this old chair that's been upholstered since, but she would go to that chair, fall at her knees, pray on it, cry out to God. And those were those deep groaning prayers that may or may not have any words. But that was her private prayer. And then in that quiet space that she created, which I'm assuming is in her home, she said she would seek God for like what to say, like a message that she was supposed to give. And in those times, God will reveal to her what she needed to say for those messages. So I believe this transition in the daily devotional, or not daily devotional, but daily reading that I'm reading the book, it's going to break down what public prayer is and what private prayer is. And it kind of touched base on it in the beginning of the book, but talking about when you're in public, people that are babies in prayer, they need to hear you do like simple, straightforward prayers, so they're encouraged to pray and not feeling like they have to do too much, because that's why a lot of people stop praying. As far as my daily devotional, the word for today, or encouragement for today, was do not waste your time envying other people. And when I looked up what envy means, it's painful resentment for the advantage or advancement of another person. And it's like you're looking at how far somebody is and you're wasting time doing that, because if you are in tune with God and you are in alignment with His will and His word, He's going to provide every single thing you need. So instead of you wasting time looking at the next person, focus on the mercy and favor and gifts that He has given you, and you lock into that and just watch Him pour out His favor. And I am a firm believer that God has done that in my life. Long time, lots of wasted time has been spent looking at the next person. And it wasn't until I just shifted my mindset to just like focusing on spending time with Him, creating a routine of getting in His presence, and creating a space where I could just sit with Him, because I'm like, God, you got something that I need. And it was factual. So since then, I have seen God suddenly shift my life, and I am so grateful because it confirms His word. And I believe the psalm of today that I read was Psalm 84, and it just says, "Blessed is the man that trusts in God." In that word blessed, I'm not talking about, wealth and riches, like Him just, giving me all this money and I'm just rich. No, it's like a spiritual wealth where He gives peace and He gives grace and He gives mercy and He gives favor when I deserve opposite. And I'm so thankful for it. So those are the two things of today. And last but not least, I believe just God is taking me back to the child me, where He showed me my future. He showed me my purpose, and He showed me who I was and who I was going to be. And I'm grateful for it, because I'm like, man, God, I've gotten so far out of touch with that. And I'm thankful that He's giving me a chance to go back to that vision, those ideas, those dreams, and those things that He told me were for me. And I'm going to walk in that. So hope you have a good day. Get connected. to God because He's great. Take care.